pecking order in endurance running. Colin is one of Scotland's top club runners. He has a 2:33 marathon PB, which he is hoping to improve in 2016. So, ladies and gentlemen, please come down, take a seat, and get yourselves nice and comfortable. It was very inspiring yesterday what to talk about. Please welcome Colin Thomas.
Thanks very much. Thanks for coming along. So what I've done, I've put a little presentation together. It's got various bits of information in it, some pictures, and then a couple of video clips that I'll show you at the end. And then if we've got time, we'll do a question and answer session as well. So, first of all, if you're asking, why Kenya? Why did I go and study Kenyan athletes? Because they're the best, basically. And I've got some statistics here to show you why. Kenya's got a population of 32 million people, which is actually less than the UK. 0.5% of the world's population, and out of that small population, they've got 51% of the best endurance runners from 800 metres to the marathon, which is obviously massive. And one of the key points on this is the last 3 marathon world records have been broken by Kenyan athletes in the male marathon. So those points there just go to show that Kenyan athletes are certainly doing something correct, which we're not doing in Europe and we're not doing in America and the rest of the world. So we want to find out why. There's 3 factors that determine an athlete's ultimate potential. Okay? Physiological, psychological and biomechanical. Physiological factors, you've probably heard the term VO2 max. So VO2 max is a physiological factor. So that's like heart, lungs, how good your muscles are. Okay? Psychological factors is obviously what's up in the athlete's head. And biomechanical factors are how the athlete moves, okay? His movement patterns. So here's a question for you. This is when I get to find out how intelligent the audience are. Out of those 3, which one ultimately determines how good an athlete can be? Number 1, number 2, or number 3? Anyone care to have a guess? Number 2, there's a few folks saying number 2. Any advance on that? Most folk going number 2. Well, let me give you a little analogy. If you've got a car and you put a massive engine in your car, but it's got square wheels, it's not going to go anywhere. Okay? So that makes the most important factor. Your biomechanical factors. Okay? You have to be able to move efficiently, otherwise there's no point in having a big engine and there's no point in being mentally tuned in if your body's not going to do things properly. Okay? So, let's take a little look at these 2 pictures here. Let's call the picture on the left there number 1 and the picture on the right number 2. Which one of these 2 pictures shows good biomechanics? Picture 1 or picture 2? You can definitely see somebody saying number 2, somebody there said number 2 as well. Let's have a show of hands. Who thinks number 1? A few people. Number 2? Most people? Good, because you'd be right. That is number 2. You're obviously delighted with that. Do you want to tell us why? The key things to look at. The relaxation, first of all. This is one of the key messages from today's talk. When you run, relax. Okay? The difference in the relaxation between these guys and these guys. Look at the shoulder position. His shoulders are nearly up at his ears. These shoulders are down and back, opening up the chest and opening up the rib cage. Easy for breathing. The shoulders should be directly above the hip. These shoulders are quite far out in front of the hip. And one of the key things to look at is the ankle joint. Very relaxed, very stiff. Okay? Stiffness through the ankle joint causes tension up the front of the shin and up the rear of the leg. Ultimately will end up with things that you've heard of, or shin splints and Achilles problems and plantar fasciitis, too much stiffness around this area. Okay? So running, relax. I've put up there in brackets bipedal integrity. Okay, bipedal integrity basically means how well you have developed over a short period of time from being a toddler on 4 legs to being an adult standing, walking and running on 2 legs. And we'll take a look at how to develop that in runners. You may have heard this term FAST or F-A-S-T, okay? Now that stands for F for focus, A for alignment, S for stability, and T for timing. This, I should say to you, this is developed by a couple of very famous coaches. You might have heard of a school called St Patrick's High School, Winnie-10 in Kenya. So there's 2 coaches that developed this. Brother Colin was an Irish teacher who went to Kenya, and Coach Rob Quigley, who's an Australian who travelled the world studying lots of different running philosophies, and they put this together. They put together the whole running programme at St Patrick's High School, and that's what developed some of the great athletes like David Rudisha, who's the 800 metre world record holder, Augustine Choge, and lots of other top class Kenyan runners. So this is what they teach from a very young age with Kenyan athletes. So it's always focus on what you're going to do, align the body like we previously spoke about, shoulders, hips, ankles, all on a vertical axis. Stability is stabilising with your core and keeping that vertical axis. And T is for timing with the ground. So you should tap out your rhythm like a metronome, okay? Nice little gentle steps. And when you're doing that, when you're thinking about how your feet are contacting with the ground, imagine you've turned a bike upside down and you've spun the front wheel. Okay, so the front wheel's spinning round. To keep that front wheel spinning, you just give it little taps on the top. But if you put your hand on that wheel for too long, it's going to slow down. So when you're running with your feet, it's just tiny little taps. Okay, like a metronome, just tap out the rhythm. So that's what timing's for. Once you've developed this, there are 2 more things that basically make you run fast. They've got different names. I like to call them tempo and depth. Okay, so you've got your fast. Tempo, sometimes known as frequency. Cadence, if you're a cyclist. And it's basically how quickly you're taking steps. So if your steps are faster, you have to move faster. But that's the easy thing to improve. Harder one is improving your depth. Okay? Depth is sometimes known as power to weight ratio, things like that. So it's essentially how deep or how hard you push into the ground to propel your body forward. And that's the harder thing to develop. If you think about your body as being a spring, okay? When I was talking about having a vertical upright axis earlier on, if you've got a spring and you pull it down into the ground vertically, it will shoot quite high. But if you've got a spring at a bit of an angle, it just kind of, it loses its power and it just kind of flops. That's what happens with your body as well. That's why it's important to keep that good vertical upright axis. Okay, that gives you your depth into your ground, which allows you to have propulsion forward. This photograph here, I took down at the local running track in Iten, which I'll show you some other photos and videos of later on. And at the time that I took it, I didn't really realise what it showed. But then when I looked at it a little bit more closely, I thought it was actually quite funny, because what it shows is, you've got these 4 Kenyan athletes, and then one, what the Kenyans would call a Mzungu, which means a white guy. Look at the foot position of the Kenyan athletes. They're all doing exactly the same thing. Okay, the left foot is planting nicely into the ground, and the right foot is behind the right glute muscle, ready to kick forward again. So they're all actually doing an FAST. They're actually doing a fast drill. They're all on the same tempo, and they're all on the same frequency, and they're all running the same speed. And then of course, you've always got one that ruins it. I'll show you these videos at the end. So, when you're training at altitude, the physiological adaptations that happen within your body are pretty much the same as what happens at sea level, but they happen a little bit faster at altitude. And I'll run through these quite briefly and give you a little brief explanation. So you get an increase in red blood cells, which is helpful because the red blood cells carry the oxygen around your body. You get an increase in mitochondria density. That's the part of the muscle cell that generates power and energy. An increase in capillary density, so the capillary is where the blood passes into the muscle. You get an increase in cardiac output, so that's the blood coming from your heart. And you get an increase in VO2 max, which I like to call the size of your engine. But remember what we were saying earlier, there's no point in having a big engine if you've got square wheels, if your body's not good enough to actually use that big engine. Hence the biomechanics, the importance of biomechanics. The psychological benefits of training out at somewhere like Kenya, I thought this picture showed it really well. Again, this is down at Camry running track in E10, and you can obviously just see there's this group of maybe 50 or 60 runners, and they're all top class runners. The lad at the front of that group there, he's actually a junior European champion in cross country from Switzerland. And that day at the track, I mean, there was about 200 or 300 runners turning up. If you go down to a running track in Glasgow, you're lucky if you've got somebody else to share the track with. And obviously you step outside your front door, your alarm goes off at 6:30 in the morning, it's nice and sunny, it's a nice temperature, it's just perfect training conditions, so you feel motivated to go out and really train really well. Everybody asks, what is the secret for Kenyan athletes? How come they're so good? And if you ask anyone in Kenya, if you ask any of these Kenyan coaches or Kenyan athletes, they say the secret is that there is no secret. It's actually just hard work and hard training. And I'll show you one of their training programs shortly. But this is a few theories that people have as to why they're so good. So children running to school 6 miles there and back is a theory that's been going on for 10, 20 years. And Haile Selassie, one of the previous marathon world record holders, who was actually Ethiopian, he famously claimed to run 6 miles to school and back when he was a child. But when I was out in Kenya, there was, to be honest, there's schools everywhere, and I never saw any children running to get there. So although it's a theory, I don't think it's very true. Obviously training at altitude helps because it increases your body's natural production of EPO. I don't mean injected EPO here, I mean natural EPO. And your hemoglobin concentration, which again carries oxygen around your body. And then there's various studies being done. So this one, training with low fluid intake, was done by Barry Fudge, who's now part of UK Athletics endurance training team. So he studied fluid intake with a lot of Kenyan marathon runners and realised that a lot of them were actually running when they were dehydrated and still able to turn out fantastic performances. Power to weight ratio. The kind of typical male Kenyan athletes have a BMI of about 15.5. So to put that into perspective, my BMI is about 20. So when I was in Kenya, I was the fat guy in Kenya. Basically they're very thin and very lightweight, which means they've got a very high power to weight ratio, easier to propel the body forward. Running economy. Studies in that show that the Kenyan running economy is about 5% better than Europeans, which over a marathon 5% is a big difference. Okay, it's a lot. And that running economy obviously comes from what I was talking about earlier on. They've got really good biomechanics because they're taught it at a very young age. Again, Barry Fudge looked at diet of Kenyan runners, and they're very high in carbohydrate. They absolutely love their sugar. They drink, their sports drink is actually sugary tea, so they don't drink Powerade or Lucozade. Tea with 4 or 5 scoops of sugar in it, and their teaspoon's almost standing upright in it. Very high intake of milk, which gives them lots of amino acids, so that's the building blocks for protein, which helps their muscles to repair. But there is a big difference between Kenyan milk and milk that we get in the UK. Because in Kenya it basically comes straight from the cow. You sometimes see them walking along with a bucket of milk that they've just milked their cow and they're going home to make their tea with, basically. And then there's been loads of studies done on Kenyan genetics. but there's none that have actually proved that they've got a specific gene that makes them a fantastic runner. There's been some that have come quite close to it, so they found a gene, for instance, in a tribe of Kenyans called the Colin tribe, which most of the runners come from, which makes them have very long legs, about 2 centimetres longer than typical European legs, and very, very thin, so the legs are lightweight and long, easier to run with. But there's been no specific genetic link to say that they're a better runner. So yeah, so they do like to say the secret is there is no secret, it just comes down to real hard work. And they really love doing what's called fartlek training, which some of you might have heard of. Fartlek training, basically the word fartlek means speed plane, so it's running at different speeds. So for instance, they'll do 4 minutes on, 2 minutes off for 60 minutes, which means like 4 minutes of running really hard at a certain speed, and then 2 minutes recovery, and they'll repeat that for 60 minutes. And it's over very, very hilly terrain, and they're maintaining very, very high speeds. So fartlek training, very, very effective for them. The start of the sessions are incredible. These two pictures are from a couple of fartlek sessions, and you know, you turn up and there can be 100 or 200 people there waiting to do a training session, and they'll all run 10k in under 30 minutes. It's just an incredible standard. This year, people are always quite interested to see. The finer writing's a bit too small for you to see, but I'll read out a couple of sessions. What this is a training programme from an athlete called Silas Kiplagat, who some of you might have heard of. He's a 1500 metre runner. He's a silver medalist in the World Championships. And this was 2 weeks of his training programme from last month, from February. So the types of sessions that he was doing, it's basically got a morning session and an afternoon session. Although sometimes they actually train 3 times a day, sometimes it'll be 6 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and 4 o'clock. But this particular programme was twice a day. I'll read this one out to you. Monday the 8th was 25 minutes easy run, plus 10 times 400 metres uphill with a 4-minute recovery. So that's 10 400 metre reps uphill. And the fact that there's a 4-minute recovery means that the kind of focus was on getting a really good speed on that uphill run. So he was doing those 400 metres in about 65 seconds, 10 of them in 65 seconds, uphill, at altitude, above 2,000 metres. And then his afternoon run was, says there, 40 minutes moderate, and in brackets, 10k. So a 10k in 40 minutes is quite a moderate run for him. These guys can actually, even the 1500 metre runners, these guys can cover 10k in 32 minutes, you know, and it's not even a race, a training session. They're pretty quick. For instance, he's got, there we go, this Thursday the 18th down here, 1 hour 10 easy, and in brackets 18 kilometres. So if you think like a half marathon's 21 kilometres, so he'd be covering a half marathon in about 1 hour 20, and that's his easy run. So he's still pretty quick over a long distance. If anyone wants a copy of this, you can take my details afterwards and I'll be able to email it on to you. It's quite interesting to have a good look through. So I guess to kind of finish, the key points to take away are, when you're running, relax, okay? Make your body like water rather than being like a brick. Train hard and train well, okay? Does anyone have any questions?